Oasis have reunited, the biggest music news in the UK, if not the world, for many years. Tim, are you excited to potentially see them?
I am over the moon to potentially see them, if I can get tickets when they go on sale this Friday. So we'll see if that's possible, if all the touts don't get in and take them all up in the first place.
But let me talk about the tour. So Oasis have announced 14 nights across 5 cities in the UK. We've got 2 nights at Cardiff's Principality Stadium, 4 nights at Manchester's Heaton Park, 4 nights at Wembley Stadium in London, 2 nights at Edinburgh Murrayfield, and 2 nights at Croke Park in Dublin. A little interesting fact for you here. Take a guess, actually. How many tickets do you think there is in total across all the venues that they've announced so far, all the dates combined?
So how many dates total?
14 dates.
14 dates. So we're talking, I reckon, 20k on each one. So at least, 280? 300k?
20k on each one. I don't know where you've got 20k from. It is 895,000 tickets.
In total?
In total.
That's like double what I would have expected it to be.
When do you think Wembley holds 20k?
Oh, shit, yeah. Wembley's like, 100?
Yeah. I actually think there's going to be way more dates announced for this because Networth, when they did it in the 1996, 2.5 million people applied for tickets. And since then, a lot of those people that were applying back then are definitely going to want to go to these concerts. But there's a whole newer music generation that want to see Oasis and haven't had a chance.
So what I was really surprised at was that there is no Nebworth dates on there. So whether they're going to announce those later down the line, because that is like their spiritual home ground, essentially. That's where they popped off. That's where they sold out however many nights in a row. So I was expecting to see that. But the fact that they've got multiple dates at each venue shows that they are very well aware that they know they're going to sell this bitch out almost instantly.
I think it'll be real quick, and I'm surprised. You mentioned Networth. I'm surprised there ain't any Etihad dates because obviously both are huge Manchester City fans, and the Manchester City Stadium for concerts holds, I think, about 50 to 60k. So I'm shocked that they're not doing any dates there. Maybe they're yet to be announced. And so far, they've only announced UK and Ireland dates, and I still expect. I've seen stuff about doing some baseball stadiums in America. And Oasis never really broke America while they were active, but you know for a fact now, after all these years of hype, they would sell out so many tickets in America as well.
And you know where else they would sell out instantly? Japan.
Anywhere in Asia.
I'm very, very surprised that there's no Japanese dates. They could even do, the Tokyo Bowl if they wanted to.
Stone Island and Pretty Green are having the best week of their lives as well. Sales are up 500%. Everyone's getting the badging. But I seen a picture earlier on Twitter of the two brothers together, Noel and Liam, something we've not seen for over a decade. I hope they've actually made up.
I do too, yeah. I hope this isn't just, we need some money quickly because, Noel's going through his divorce. He needs some money. Liam's probably doing fine. I imagine Noel might need a little bit of pennies right now. But I hope this is their choice and they're not doing it for reasons that aren't just them wanting to do it. Because if this is because of monetary incentive, I don't know if we'll get the shows that we want to get. They have to be wanting to do this with each other for us to get that energy, for us to get that chemistry, because that's what we need. We need the Gallagher brothers on full form. But I have heard that apparently they're not doing it with the original lineup that they had for Oasis, and they're actually doing it with the High Flying Birds as the instruments.
That kind of makes sense, but it'd be a bit of a shame for Bonehead, for example, who's played with Liam for so long, not to be featured. I did wonder what it'd be, and that also brings up the question of, will we see any new Oasis music? If it's not the full original lineup, will they be comfortable in releasing a couple singles or an album? And do you want new Oasis music?
So for me, I don't think they should release a new album, and there might be a lot of people out there saying that I really want new music, but in my opinion, it wouldn't feel right because the music that they released was of its era, it was of its time, and nothing that neither Liam nor Noel has released since has kind of hit that height and has managed to grapple as many people as original Oasis did.
No, not as much as original Oasis, but a lot of the High Flying Birds albums, and especially the first Liam album, were very good and critically did well, sales-wise did well. So do you not think if we could kind of combine a mixture of those two sounds, it might still be good? I don't know, I just think it'd be strange if they've made up and they're getting back together as a band. Surely they have a plan to release something.
Well, like Noel said, he said, I write the music and I can sing the music and it will sound good. but when our kid gets on that track, that's when it sounds great. So I can imagine that there might have been at some point some songs that Noel never used for High Flying Birds because he thought he couldn't deliver it properly. He might have some in the bank that he goes, here you go, Liam, here's like 3 songs I've written over the years that I didn't tell you about. See what you think about them, give them a go, and they end up being absolute bangers, but who's to say?
We'll see. And I was thinking support acts. Who could we see as support acts? Obviously, whoever gets that role, these will be some of the biggest, most covered gigs in the history of music. And I had a look at, in Networth, when they originally did it back in the day, The Prodigy were one of the support acts. Ooh. Obviously, they're still active. That'd be a really good one to hype up the crowd. They also had the Charlatans and Manic Street Preachers. I feel like Charlatans could be one if they're still in touch and friends.
I was going to say Charlatans, maybe the Verve. If we could get the Verve out, Richard Ashcroft, that'd be pretty cool. But then also, possibly, this is the biggest ask in the world, Stone Roses reunion again.
There's no chance. He's going to come on stage with his nunchucks. No, I don't think we'll get Stone Roses, but one band that I think is highly likely to be a support act is Kasabian. So they supported Liam at his last Networth gigs, and they supported him at a few other gigs in the last couple of years. And maybe this is why this couldn't happen, but on Noel's last arena tour, Tom Megan from Kasabian was the support act. Oh. So they clearly both quite like the music and like the Kasabian tunes, but maybe that could be a bit of a touchy point when one's friends with Tom, one's friends with the existing Kasabian with Serge and stuff. But given both brothers must like them, I think Kasabian could be a huge shout. And then I was kind of thinking there's just going to be a couple of indie bands on each night, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like I think Kasabian could be the main support, and then it'll just alternate.
Whether they're going to have the same support for each night, I don't know, because, you know, it might be one of those tour posters where they have asterisks and squares and triangles that says, on this night, it will be this band. Because I feel like they might want to shed light on multiple different up-and-coming indie bands. If they were going to do this right, they could really give a huge platform for new bands. Although, if they were to just do a set amount of support acts, then we could see an absolutely mega tour, because even those support acts then would pull everything out of the bag to deliver every night. So either way, it will be an immense lineup. I'm almost certain of it.
Yeah, and it's not impossible that we could see a huge support act. For example, the other year when the Killers did the Emirates and a UK tour, Sam Fender was a support act in London, and he was already massive and had a #1 album and stuff at that point. So we could definitely see some huge musicians jump on, because I think anyone would want to support Oasis. But with gigs at Wembley, with gigs around the UK at these massive venues, it will cost them quite a lot to put on. But how much do you think it'll cost us to get a ticket?
So my ballpark at the moment, what I'm expecting, because of prices I paid recently for what would be classed as big acts, I'm thinking a minimum 150, going up to the 200 mark, and then passing up to 400 potentially for things that are like decent seats. Obviously, you get your ones that are in the thousands with the VIP packages. But for standard seats, I reckon we're looking top side £400 to £500.
Yeah, I agree, especially with Ticketmaster and their grip on the music industry with the dynamic pricing. I'm expecting most tickets to be hitting 200 quid, to be honest, which is a real shame, because it'll stop a lot of people, especially maybe older people who are Oasis fans and don't have much disposable income, even having the thought of actually going to this. I'm quite nervous to see how much their tickets cost. And I looked into it a little bit. When they originally did Networth in 1996, how much do you think a ticket cost? And this was classed as very expensive for 1996 for a ticket.
£90.
£22.50.
Fucking hell.
So Networth 1996 tickets were £22.50. This, adjusted for inflation, today would be £44. And I can guarantee 100% fact it's not going to be £44.
And it definitely won't be £22. Jesus fucking Christ.
Imagine if it was £22.50. I think we'd actually cry. But what do you think the odds are on them actually making it through the whole tour?
So I reckon the odds are high. I reckon that in the background, this is something I've been thinking for a while, that they might have come back together, you know, a little while ago. Because apparently this was all based around a phone call, a late night phone call that they had together that kind of rekindled their brotherhood. So, you know, I've got high hopes that they will stick it out for the full thing, because like we were saying, if they're both fully committed to this, I see no reason why they wouldn't do the whole tour. But again, if this is for any kind of monetary incentive or anything of that sort, we may be looking at a flop halfway through.
I pray there isn't.
I pray there is not.
I pray they make it through. But one band that they have absolutely played with the announcement of this tour, Catfishing the Bottom the other week announced a massive gig at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And this is, I said it at the time and continue to say it, a bit too big for them, I think. I already thought they'd probably only sell 50% of the stadium out. It happens to be that Oasis are doing Wembley on the same day that they're doing the Tottenham Stadium.
Oh, God.
So there is no chance that they sell many tickets now. If I was Catfishing the Bottom, I'd actually move the date.
Yeah, you just reschedule it at this point, because they also wouldn't have had any way of knowing that this was going to happen, because I think they kept it entirely under wraps. There was a lot of people that didn't even think this was going to be a tour. They thought it was just going to be a remaster announcement. But for the amount of promotion that they'd given for this announcement, I doubted that it would be anything short of them reuniting.
Yeah, I'm gassed. I really hope I can get tickets. And I've always been a massive Oasis fan. I've never said anything bad about them on the podcast in my life.
On the podcast.
I've never once have I dissed Oasis. But I'm enjoying it already on Twitter. I'm kind of seeing, oh, well, there should be entry requirements for you to be able to get tickets.
So that really pisses me off, because I've seen people saying, oh, you're going to get a bunch of teenagers who only know Wonderwall that are going to get tickets, and it should be for us real fans, us old heads that have listened to them from the start. And I think that's bollocks. Because if you're a fan of music, you're a fan of music. It doesn't matter if you know one song. It doesn't matter if you know 100 songs. You're going to go there. You're going to have a good time regardless. And I think if you start gatekeeping like that, then these kind of shows can't happen, because you'll never fucking sell them all out anyway, because the price that they're going to have to put onto the tickets, it's going to be difficult for most people to afford in the first place.
Without all the young people, there is no way that Liam and Noel's solo careers would have been as successful as they are. And also the hype that has been built up on the internet for this Oasis reunion would not happen without the newer demographic of fans. So it's just a big positive, really, and it's nice to see. One thing I wanted to tell you to end it on a negative note, right?
Oh, that's a good note.
I seen an interesting fact earlier. So, of the Grassroots venues that Oasis played when they first started as a band, only 11 of the 34 remain open.
Fucking hell.
So, just this, you know, when we're talking about ticket prices and gigs at Wembley and stuff, it's a bit of a shame that a band like Oasis can start out and all the venues practically, bar 11, over 50% are now gone that they originally started their careers in. So Oasis, I hope they actually do something for grassroots venues and grassroots music when they come back.
Fingers crossed, some of the proceeds that they get for these gigs will go towards grassroots venues. I don't see them as particularly greedy people either, because the amount of times that they've re-released, you know, albums in the past and neither Noel nor Liam have kind of, you know, promoted it. I don't think they're that much about the money, which again kind of leans into us probably getting a good show.
Well, I've seen Liam do smaller gigs in like Blackburn and stuff in the last couple of years, so I'm even maybe hoping as like a little warm-up if they do one or two smaller venues, it'd be incredible for the fans and it'd support those venues massively. So you never know. I doubt it'll happen, but Oasis,
they're back.
Woo!
Come on.